here, it means that MNM will pick one of those up, and then Enclave can get the other. But my money here would be potentially getting either Rengar or, as I was going to say, Varus is a very good red side, and it's someone that you don't really want to give over to Enclave here.
Yep.
Especially if you also can say, well, if you get Rengar, we'll take someone like Kha'Zix, who's also very strong, or Graves, who's coming through a lot, as you can, well, they just locked Graves in as well. So losing...
The predictions are on.
Well, losing like potentially the Rengar here as well from Canifos. He has played this as well. Like, he does play Rengar. I still think Rengar's a really strong pick, but people are pulling away from him a little bit. He did get nerfed this patch as well, so he's not as strong as he was before, but he's still really strong in my opinion. But this is also something which we saw a little while back too when I was here before casting. They second picked exactly the same they have done this time, Lulu. That is surprising because you don't really see Lulu too much.
It was Hado who played it last time. I believe it was against GLB if I remember correctly. But it is that potential flex pick. Possibly could go to the mid lane. Larson could pick it up. Technically could go to the top lane as well. Though Tempo, I would feel, would not be wanting to be playing the Pixel champion up in top lane. So let's just recap the bans. It is Alawi, Hecarim, and Shen. LeBlanc, Alawi, and Ivan.
Ivan, yeah.
The other.
Close enough.
Yeah, there we go. And Camille. And the picks are flying through. It is Karma, Graves locked in for Enclave. They're just currently considering their final pick. It will be Cassiopeia. And now they get the chance to ban the first champion here on the red side. Larson with his Rise as well. That's going to be a fairly explosive mid lane. Rise versus Cassio.
It's a good pickup. Cassiopeia is considered one of the counter picks to Rise. I wouldn't say counter because Rise is okay. He's Rise.
Yes, and Larson is the king of playing into counter matchups as well.
So he's fine, but you most likely will be seeing, I would imagine, a Rengar ban here. But I've also said that they would pick Rengar and they didn't. So there's no Rengar ban. Of course they wouldn't be because I predicted it, so it won't happen. But with MNM having already picked their AD carry and the AD carry not being seen on Enclave, and because there is a top 2/top 3 of AD carries being Jhin, Varus, and Ashe, I would imagine to see an Ashe, they might not pick it here because they don't have to pick it here because they know you're not going to get it nicked over from MNM's side. But I would imagine you're probably going to see Ashe here. Maybe not. You never know.
See. So those bans are Poppy Fiora for Enclave and Caitlyn Jhin for MNM. Ezreal locked in for Yakamaka. Now, I see you shaking your head. Before you shake your head too much, Yakamaka is a Ezreal main.
Okay.
He is pretty insane on the champion through the games that I've casted over the last year of watching this guy play League of Legends. So,
well, that's fair. It's fair enough. Like, if you want to pick what you're really comfortable on, that's cool. I think that Varus and Jhin, objectively speaking, you would want to select those over your comfort picks. But Ashe, very strong still, but not quite in the same tier, in my opinion, with the lethality patch coming through. So it's fine. You know, if you just want to pick your comfort pick, that's fine. It's not like Ez is a bad champion. Like, he's good. He's a fine AD carry. He's usually the step below the top 3 there that I mentioned.
I say he's a main. Caitlyn is probably his best champion, hence the ban against him.
Hence the ban there as well. Caitlyn's fine too.
But
and
that's what he falls back to. Yeah.
Finally, we saw Rengar. I've been talking about it this whole play time. Finally, they actually picked him. So there we go. He's actually been locked in. I feel slightly better now about having seen him. And no surprise as well, Maokai is arguably the most solid top laner, versatile as well as to who you pick it into, because now Enclave do have the counter pick here for this top. But you don't counter pick Maokai. I mean, he's Maokai. There's no way to actually proper counter it. You can go match with your own tank like Nautilus because they ban Poppy, so they won't be picking him. So you could do that, or you could put something a little more like fiery, like Rumble or something if you fancy that. But yeah, Nautilus is what we're going to see here.
So it is going to be the wet noodle fight in the top lane, the Nautilus versus the Maokai. So let's reround the compositions. Maokai, Rengar, Rise, and Varus and Lulu in the bot lane for MNM, up against a Nautilus, Graves, Cassiopeia, Ezreal, Karma for Enclave.
I think the MNM draft here, they have a lot of strong picks, objectively speaking. Maokai, Rengar, Rise, and Varus are all really strong champions. And I think as well that the Lulu Rengar combo is actually really strong. And even Lulu with someone like Rise is really strong because you just run around, you know. So to be able to run around faster with shields and the extra stuff, I think Lulu actually does fit in quite nicely here, even if you don't necessarily see her prioritized as a pick. But Enclave as well, from their own right, they can do a lot of stuff here. They've got decent stuff to protect against the Rengar. Graves as well. I'm interested to see how he'll do, because this matchup does favor Graves in the early game. Rengar, you don't pick Rengar to stomp the early levels, whereas Graves certainly can do that. So if something's going to be a bit of a mismatch here, you would say potentially that, and the fact that you've picked a matchup like the Cassiopeia into Ryze. You kind of might want to play around that as well, because Cass does do well against Ryze too. So that might be something we'll be seeing a lot of focus on the mid potentially, but be interesting to see how it goes.
Well, we did ask you guys who you thought would be taking this one home, and the results are there. MNM with a 53% over Enclave, but that is fairly close coming into it. So a lot of doubt as to who will be taking it. I feel like I have to ask you, though, who you're predicting. You've seen the compositions there. You've seen what everyone's picked up. Is there anything that you think is going to swing it in one team's favor or the other?
I feel like MNM can play safe enough to be able to really unlock that Ryze. We have seen in the past, though, that they've been too impatient with that, and forced things a bit too early before Ryze is really unlocked. But I think with MNM have got potential to really just not get stomped early and be fine. So from that perspective, I would give it to them.
Yeah, no, I think I have to agree with you there. MNM's early game usually is fairly pretty solid. Even if they do fall behind, they seem to be able to bring it back. So MNM would be my prediction as well, which it looks like production has read my mind, beaten me to it. So 2 MNMs and MNM with the Twitter vote. Now we've got a potential for an upset.
Yeah, I mean, I love seeing upsets. It's exciting to see upsets, and there's loads on the line for both these teams. So it's not like Enclave are missing motivation. Now we're just giving them some more throwing things on the fire, and now maybe they can really explode. That'll be cool to see.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like Enclave, as an organization and as a team as well, a lot of these players new to the ESL Premiership, and so this is their chance really to upset the norm, and they would have to do it by taking down the former champions. We're on to the Rift, guys, for our first game of tonight. MNM on the blue side, Enclave on the red side, and no shenanigans happening here. Everyone fairly comfortable just to set up that 5-point defense system, make sure no one gets any deep wards going.
Yeah, it's going to be nice to see. Like I mentioned before the game went in, I'm interested to see how this jungle matchup will go, because Graves does have a slight advantage, I would argue, in the early, just because I think he's able to force and bully a bit more than Rengar can. That's not to say Rengar's weak in the early game by any means, so I don't want to say that he's going to get steamrolled. This Candyfloss won't be screwed or anything, but there's a bit of cheeky invade. Yeah,
straight in on range expire, but he's just gonna shotgun the pussycat to the face and tell him to get out of the jungle. Candyfloss now has that information. That range expire will be starting in the top side, and it feels like Candyfloss may just want to go to the opposite side. Yeah, he's making his way all the way down to the red side of the jungle to decide to switch it up. So what do you make of that?
I mean, he actually took half his health from that invade as well, which might not sound like a lot, but considering junglers in the early game don't have much access to great sustain, they've just got that refillable potion, and Rengar isn't really a champion known for his particularly healthy clears, and he didn't get a leash. Most importantly, the fact that Gray's range expire here on Graves had a good leash, was healthier from that level 1, that might be something that could play into this very early here, because it might be difficult for Candyfloss to exert too much pressure, but he's probably not really planning to do it anyway, so we'll see. But it looks like he's actually going for the invade in the top side here with range expire on Graves, so a nice read to see that Candyfloss started bot side, and he's going to be able to punish him for it.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see if Candyfloss has any inkling that this might be going on. They did have a ward on the chicken bush, and I think they spotted range expire exiting up towards the top side of the map. So with that information, maybe Candyfloss makes the prediction that his blue buff is no longer. He's certainly going to find out now as range expire heading up to the top lane to try and show Tempo some love. This big tanky Maokai is just going to take a bit of a beating, walk away. He has that health pot ticking, another one in the bank, and the passive to heal up, so not too much one there for Enclave.
Yeah, and you saw that Candyfloss wasn't able to punish range expire at all for doing that top lane steal and then top gank, because you would think, if you know that Graves has taken your blue buff, you know he's then gank top side, his bot side is wide open for you. But he can't do anything because he was too low after that first clear, so he just had to recall, and now he's trying to do something in his top side, but he can't because also Prelude is coming for an invade as well, so they really don't like Candy Floss this game. I don't know whether this is some kind of intentional targeting here, but this, oh goodness, if he face checks here, he could, nah, okay, good. He uses a ward, smart boy, he got away with it.
Could have been pretty destructive if he did face check into it with Prelude making his way down. And Prelude also, based on the fact that he's made his way down to the jungle, has the wave crashing in on his turret. So as far as his wave is concerned, it's set up perfectly just to try and farm it up in a nice, safe position. Currently, Enclave have a lot of tempo coming into this early game.
They do, but that, I thought he was playing for MNM. Get it? Tempo. You know what? I'm funny. You don't have to pity laugh me. I know I'm funny.
I asked the audio guy to do a budum tss every time you did a pun.
Oh, no.
I feel like
there it is.
Love it. I feel like we need it just to get us through the early stages.
Oh god.
A lot of actions happened down in the spot lane whilst we were cringing, Foxdrop. Reclamation and Yakumaka seem like they've taken the brunt force of this trade here against Ludders and Haddo.
Might be ganking top though.
Yeah, it does look like it is. Candy Floss making his way into the top lane. Prelude has to flash away from that bowler, and so now he's going to recall, teleport back into lane. It's advantage one there for MNM. Flashless Nautilus.
That is, but Graves is now one camp from hitting level 5. He's even a scuttle camp from hitting level 5, so he's really up there. And Candy Floss just hit level 4 before making that gank happen, so he's not in the best spot as far as experience and stuff goes, which could be a little bit worrying if we then transition into maybe some mid lane or mid game play, sorry. But like, we'll see, because he did manage to take a few things here, Candy Floss did, so hopefully he's not going to fall too far behind. But, you know, like I said, Rengar isn't the best in the early, just to the extent where there's no pressure on him to make plays. If it was the other way around here, and Graves was the one who was really low in levels, really behind in experience, and Rengar was ahead, that would be extremely troubling, because Graves, that's not the point in the game where you want to fall behind on Graves, so you know, as long as they don't fall too far behind as far as the lanes go, they should be fine.
Have that ability just to play safe until ultimates are available, and then you can start to try and swing that momentum back towards you. For Candy Floss, he's a little bit of away from that devastating ultimate. It's top lane, wow, it's not quite a wet noodle fight, it's more like a bash coming in here.
But here comes Graves, he's going to add some sauce to this noodle.
Oh my goodness, let's see what Range Expire can do. Tempo knows it's coming, but a flash forward. Ooh, Range Expire, he's going on to Prelude. He's going to get the first blood before he goes down. Wow, Tempo, what a beast on that Maokai, using the Twisted Advance to ignore damage and getting himself an advantage there.
He just hit level 6 as well there, which must feel pretty bad. But I actually did. I don't know who actually got the first blood there. I've got a feeling it was Graves, but I'm not 100% sure. Either way, Maokai getting a kill in that situation, Tempo, that was good.
Based on the gold, it's MNM.
It is MNM. Nice. That's really good then. That's extra good. I mean, you do get the assist gold from Enclave side, but getting first blood, beautiful. I'm sure he's happy with that one.
Yeah, certainly going to be very happy. He took them down with him. Now, we'll have to see what Range Expire does. He did burn his flash in that one. Looks like Candy Floss knows that he has to be a little bit low and a little bit defensive.
He's going to hit 6 after he gets that red.
Yeah, he's going to go in, but look at the damage. Candy Floss gets the kill, gets the red buff, gets the level up.
Oh, wow, that's... No. Yeah, if Graves had just... He got it with his raw.
That's insane, and now Prelude's in trouble. They're just going to dive in here. Ankatos to try and get some distance, but Candy Floss going to flash on forward. Tempo just tanks that turret up, and all this momentum, all this tempo that Enclave was carrying around, MNM has just stolen it away.
That was crazy. That, honestly, that is a game of inches right there. I mean, level 7 Candy Floss to level 5 Range Expire now, but Range Expire, if he kills the red buff, he gets level 6. If Rengar face checks Graves when Graves is level 6, that ain't going to go too well for Rengar. When you've unlocked your ultimate as well, Thunderlord's everything in there too. That... Oh my, this is going to be close as well.
Ludders is going extremely low. Has to flash away, but Reclamation may just take one too many shots from that pixel gun. Haddo going to take the kill there. Going to get this fruit to heal on up. MNM now 4-1.
What are you doing?
Oh, he's eating them all up, isn't he?
That's not yours, mate.
He's going to take it.
He doesn't.
Ludus is letting him take it as well.
Sharing is caring, man. There it is.
Beely in trouble in the mid lane. It's all going wrong. That's a flash forward, but not quite the damage coming through. He gets away on just a sliver of HP. Now 2,000 gold lead. Range expire. It looks like he wants to try and change things up in the bot lane.
Hado still has... Everyone has their ults up here outside of Varus, so...
It's
be a bit careful.
A little bit hard. Kennyfloss making his way down towards the river. If Range Expire paths wrongly here, he may be in trouble. Can, of course, jump across that wall, and that's exactly what's going to happen. Reclamation here can speed up his jungler, make sure he gets to safety.
Yeah, it's worth noting as well, at this stage of the game, the itemization of the bot lanes means that, generally speaking, these fights should go in the favor of MNM here, because the Varus gets the serrated Dirk early, whereas the Ez gets... Well, to be fair, they both get tier, so that doesn't do too much, but it looks like Ez is flat out rushing the Frozen Gauntlet here. I'm assuming that's what the cloth armor's for, unless he just really wants Ninja Tabby for some reason, which I'm going to assume isn't the case. But either way, you know, that makes it so that these fights, as far as the damage coming out means, it should go in MNM's favor. So that's why you saw they were able to force down the kill on Reclamation there.
Almost certain I saw a tweet from MNM's previous AD carry Smiley about how if you don't buy Ninja Tabby in my games, then then I'm done. Yeah,
Ninja Tabby are a pretty disgusting item, honestly. I get them on like every jungler now, even like Kha'Zix and stuff, which even people who you wouldn't, you know, you don't want to buy tank items on, they're just grim. They let you, they're just disgusting. Foul.
You're disgust for Ninja Tabby.
I'm a bit opinionated on that. I'm not even an AD carry player. I just know that I shouldn't be able to buy one item and shut down an AD carry.
It does feel bad. AD carrying 2017 memes.
Lol.
Does feel bad for them, and especially when you have a Rengar on the other side of the map looking to just blow you up in a single combo. Rengar obviously did get hit a little bit in patch 7.3, but we'll talk about it a little bit later, because currently Candyfloss Larson making their way into the red side of the jungle to try and catch Range Expire out.
He just used his quick draw as well.
Oh, so he's not got movement speed, but the bowler going to hit on towards the Krugs instead of the Grave, so Candyfloss is going to disengage. Beely making his way up now. It's a party in the jungle, and I'm not sure that he can get Candyfloss out of here. Going to use his ultimate to try and stealth on up, but he can't be revealed. Oh, goes straight up to Range Expire. Jumps on over the wall. Going to have that depth charge, but no, the immunity doesn't matter. The damage comes through. Prelude gets a kill, but whilst the excitement was happening in the jungle, bot lane turret secured for MNM and that first turret blood as well.
Yeah, so pretty good overall there for MNM. You can see they're off to a pretty phenomenal lead as far as the gold is concerned, and they're only 10 minutes in. It does make you wonder about leaving this Rengar open for so long as Larson's going in. Oh
yeah, Beely in a lot of trouble here, going to have to try and get away. Here comes Reclamation to try and help out, and Reclamation with the save, the exhaust flash used by the support.
Flash exhaust, beautiful. Love to see that. That's the most like pathetic way to initiate a play. Flash exhaust. But it works. Yeah. It worked. Can't complain. Beautiful stuff right there. Now we were saying Larson is like the counter pick king, right? He pick whatever into anything and still win lane. And honestly, if Karma wasn't there, Beely probably goes down. He's already got like a 20 CS lead. So yeah, he's in a pretty tight spot, honestly. He's doing very well. Very well, in fact.
We're talking about CS leads. You have to throw it up to tempo in the top lane as well. A 36 there on the Maokai over the Nautilus, who's just not having a fun game. 2 deaths, a lot of action being pushed towards Nautilus, being dived under both his turrets so far.
Yeah, and the fact that they went for that first blood play and then tempo got it in the end, it's not fun for Nautilus, bless him.
I love this roaming support by Reclamation, just trying his best to make sure everyone in the map is safe, and it looks like it's going to pay off here as Candyfloss is in trouble. Teleport coming through. Can the man get a break? Hado has to flash over the wall, but will not be able to get away. Ooh, Prelude almost hits that anchor toss towards Ludses, forces the flash there, and a little bit of overzealousness coming from MNM. And you said that they get a little bit greedy in the early game. You can kind of see that happening.
Yeah, that was very greedy. But I mean, as far as the grand, you know, the broad picture is concerned, I don't think that's, I don't think too much is going to happen here, because they've now created a very exploitable situation in this top lane for MNM to exploit Enclave, because Nautilus TP'd in, didn't get an assist, used his flash, didn't get anything. If Candyfloss wants to go up top lane, I'm pretty sure Tempo here could probably tank quite a few tower shots. I think we saw in the NALCS last week, Hornstorm Maokai tanked 31 Nexus tower shots in a team fight at the end of the game. I don't think he can probably tank that many right now, but Maokai's, you know, no stranger to that kind of play. And he is pathing towards the top side, and he's looking to go for this dive again. So the exploitable element looks like it's going to be exploited.
Yeah, there's the ultimate coming through. Prelude knows that he's pretty much done so. The ultimate going to knock up everyone, and Rifty's able to just disengage the turret aggro with the Twisted Advance. Super easy. The top turret will fall. MNM going to secure another lead here. There's not much Reclamation can do. Roaming support may be in a bit of trouble. No, he can just walk away. Karma's annoying like that. That mid lane turret almost goes down as well. MNM in full swing, 4,000 gold. And Enclave, they started off strong. They made a lot of proactive plays to try and secure a lead. But now that they're behind, it doesn't feel like they have much of a game plan.
No, and it does make you wonder, like I was saying before, the late game of MNM right here is really not that bad. In fact, that's pretty bloody good, in fact. Right, but just by Ryze by himself. And you can activate this Ryze in so many ways. You stick Lulu on him. How are you going to burst down Ryze? Unlikely. How are you going to control him in a team fight? Unlikely. You know, then you get Rengar to jump in, so Lulu can bounce him up if you want to play it like that. You got Maokai to tank stuff up. You there's just so much that MNM can do here if the game goes on. The later the game goes on, I should say. And for Enclave, what are you going to play around here to come back into the game? Because you don't really have any lane that you can say, okay, this is our hero here. Let's let this hero be even a bigger hero and carry the team. You know, I would say Jakamaka stands a decent chance of doing that, but he needs to get the Mura mana at least. You know, like Ez is known for his 2-item power spike, the Sheen item power spike like Triforce or Frozen Fist in this case, and then the Mura mana. And I don't know how many stacks he has on tier, but it's probably going to take him a little while before he even reaches that point. And then, you know, is it too late by then? You know, so they've got to work for picks, I think, with Nautilus, but it's going to be tricky. They just have to hold on for now. You never want to be in a position where that's all you can do.
Yes. It is a bit of a consolation prize, the Cloud Drake there for Enclave. Does give them a bit of extra movement speed to try and disengage a fight a little bit. But we'll have to see what they can do here. As the mid lane turret goes down, that's the outer ring completed. MNM now have full control over the side of the jungle of Enclave. And as you can see, Range Expire is just going to step a little bit too close to danger. Loses his life for it. And Prelude may just be the next one. Beely going to make his way up towards top lane. Try and stop Tempo from getting this kill. Tempo trying to get away now, but it doesn't matter. Prelude goes down. Tempo flashes away. Sub in Larson. It's a tag team here. Cleanse to get away from that glaze. Beely has to try and flash away from this dominating Ryze.
What I quite like here... Oh, they're going to keep going.
Yeah, Beely's done here. It's going to be him just locked under the turret. Every ultimate used. I love it. MNM's coordination just on fire.
Something I wanted to point out here as well is that Larson's summoner choice here, he can go for the cleanse, which is great versus Cassio, as you saw in that last fight. And the fact that he has Lulu means that he's not really missing Ghost. You know, like he usually would take Ghost Flash, and that's really good on Ryze. But the fact that he's got a Lulu on his team means that in these team fights, Lulu can kind of ghost him anyway, right? You just stick on your picks, and he zooms around in the team fights regardless. So it's a really nice way for him to kind of be able to focus more on the 1v1 there, I guess, and more. It basically just means that Larson on Ryze is able to pop off as much as he wants to pop off. You know, it's a nice combo actually. I'm not sure if it's second pick worthy for the Lulu, but MNM love doing it and then winning the game, so I shouldn't talk too much, really, should I?
Right, it's working for them, and in their previous matchup against GLB, I think it worked for them then as well. Yep. So it's a bit of a pocket pick that they have. One of the only teams to pick up Lulu since she got that slight buff. I think it was 7.2. And Haddo feels fairly comfortable on it. Now, one thing Enclave has going for them is that they've drafted this major disengage composition. If they are able to kind of turtle things out and disengage the all-in brawl that comes towards them, it's great. However, when you have Ludze just throwing arrow after arrow after arrow at the enemy team from out of range, look at that damage.
Yeah.
It makes things hard for Enclave to even get to a scenario where they are disengaging an all-in brawl.
Yeah, this is the thing, is that when you look at the team comps, when you've got Maokai who can flank with TPs, you've got Rengar with his ultimate. Oh, here we go.
Yeah. Going to be him going down, and Kenny Floss goes on to Beely, does get stunned on up. Depth charge as well to knock everybody up. Does mean Prelude's left in the middle of the fight. Rifty, Tempo even tanking up that turret. They're going to disengage, but not before a secret kill comes through. Beely drops down. They do lose tempo in the process. Now they're looking to chase. They got that Iceborne Gauntlet on Yakamaka, who's going to continue to slow people down. Larson tries to turn around onto Reclamation, but he's just going to stun him up. MNM going all in. It's a bluff, and they're getting the kills here as well. No one falls on MNM, and 2 kills go over. Yakamaka has to walk away, wondering how he didn't secure at least 1 kill in that brawl.
I have no idea. Maybe if he added another Aka onto the end of his name, so his name was Jakamaka Aka, maybe he could have picked that up. We were saying, obviously, that correlates to in-game skill, awesomeness of names, but that is painful to watch. The flashing health bars. 3 flashing health bars we saw there. I mean, it's plays like that which you have to say, obviously, if you're not so far behind, it works. So you can't really say that's a bad play necessarily.
Right.
Maybe in the context of the game you could argue, but it's just unfortunate, really, isn't it? It's just,
it shows how far MNM are ahead right now, that they can turn around with sub 200 HP on everyone, manage to walk away with 2 kills and keep their lives.
I can't imagine they leave Rengar up next game, though. I mean, not only was Canifos, they tried to shut him down and weren't able to. They did good in the, to begin with, but they couldn't. They slipped up once, honestly, and that was boom. And Canifos ran with it. But not only that, but he looks so confident on his Rengar. Ridiculously confident that you just think, all right, if this guy is just like flexing on us right now, just don't give him the champion. Especially if it's a champion who is arguably one of the 100%, banned champions in the get. Well, that's an exaggeration, but one of the top 3 that you would expect to ban. It's okay, It's not like this guy's picked something like his pocket Soraka jungle, and you're like, you get thrashed by it, and out of pride, you don't want to ban it next game because it's Soraka jungle. No, it's Rengar. It's okay to take it off the board.
Yeah, me and you had a bit of a chat before this game, and I was talking about how Candy Floss likes to pull out an Ivan every now and again.
Oh, yeah.
And that was the ban that they decided to get rid of Rengar for. They banned away Ivan instead, which seems a little bit odd because of Ivan's current position. Ooh. Look at this. Candy Floss engages a fight against 3, and he's going to get a kill for his team, and he doesn't even fall down. Oh, he does. Red buff does tick in the end, and that red challenging smite. But over in the mid lane, it is going to be another fight engaged. Prelude the target. This Nautilus going to consider his life decisions from the deep sea of a grey screen. There we go.
Difficult. Well, it's alright, mate. Words are difficult.
Seashell. No, I can't even do it. I'm done. I'm dead.
It's the thought that counts, right? That's what Mum says.
Range Expire going to be in trouble here, and he is going to fall down here. It's almost expected that MNM, they poke, they engage, they poke, they engage. Yakamaka has to be careful that he doesn't just catch himself out. A low mana bar there means that his disengage potential is made a lot harder. MNM secure themselves that mid lane inner turret for free, basically.
Yeah, usually you would see team comps, if they have such heavy poke, they usually have to invest more than just one champion into it, like historically speaking. But Varus right now is just so good all around because of the way the meta is, that you don't just pick him for his poke. Obviously, that's an exceptionally strong part of his kit.
Yes.
But generally speaking, it's the utility of champions, of the AD carries specifically, that makes them really meta, which is why Jhin, Varus, and Ashe are the top 3. But he just pokes out, and then when you're able to heavily engage after some poke, it's such a strong combination, because you make the enemy weak and then you pounce on them. It's really hard to play against, and the Varus is just doing absolute work right now on that to set everything up. And credit to MNM as well, though, the fact that they are just going in whenever they see the opportunity to do so. Maybe that's not too much credit to them, because pretty much every second is an opportunity for these guys to go in, but they're playing it well, and they're punishing Enclave, and the gold lead is just steadily growing further and further apart as the game progresses.
Yeah, and for MNM here to really contest that second position, they need a win in this series as they go up against EXL next week. And so a tie is almost not good enough
Yeah.
in this scenario. They need the win to keep up pace with XL, and then they need the win against XL as well. So it's not impossible for these guys, but it's looking doable as Larssen going to put pressure on to range Expire here. It looks like this top lane turret is the next focus for MNM, so Enclave going to put resources there to try and clear these waves.
Yeah, it's quite impressive how MNM have played the map here. They're always doing this kind of tutorial style where you sweep around the outers, you sweep around the inners. You know, that's pretty much exactly what they've done, and now they're going for the last surviving inner. I believe that's called the inner tower. I don't actually know the names. This tower right here,
Inner.
the one you are seeing, yes.
Tier 1,
inner.
Tier 2, or outer inner.
Right, yeah, whatever. That one, we call him Larry. Larry still stands.
Larry, the top lane turret.
He's on almost bang on 50% health.
Poor Larry.
Aesthetic, as they say. But he ain't long for this world, I don't think. You poke out with Varus, and then Candyfloss is even prepping for the dive. And, you know, TP up on tempo as well. It's not going to... There it is.
Yeah, it's going to go towards Beely. Nope, he's coming back around. He's looping in, looking for range Expire, and that is some crazy damage. And all it does is push everyone away from the turret to allow MNM to take it without even a minion wave there. Didn't need it. Tempo caught out just a little bit, flashes over the wall, but Prelude going to pull him back into the fight, and now they're looking to re-engage here. MNM looking for the brawl. They're going to take down the Nautilus and just walk away, say, we took your turret, we took Larry,
Larry's down,
and
boys.
we took Prelude as well.
Yeah. Questionable re-engage there, I have to say. You don't really catch a Maokai at this point. It just doesn't happen. You know, you can find him and engage a fight on him, but he's never caught because he doesn't ever die. And, you know, when he gets close, just reinitiates the fight, and then you die instead.
Hello has Wild Growth to
Yeah.
just knock him back up again,
Exactly.
make him even bigger, more tankier, more healthier than he was before.
Yeah, it's not exactly a particularly nice place to fight either. It's a really small area there, so if you know, right by a bush as well, Candyfloss will jump back in on you. It's not going to end too well. But, you know, when you're this far behind, you have to look for things to get back in, and obviously the best way to do that is to find people out of position, catch them, that kind of stuff. I mean, the extremely strong Maokai probably isn't the ideal target for that, but when you're in this position, it's understandable to see why they're getting desperate for plays like this.
Enclave got a golden opportunity to clear out the wards in their red side jungle just now. We'll have to see what MNM decides to do now. Their warding will basically kind of tell us what their next move is, whether it's a inhibitor push or that big purple worm that's been on the map for the last 6 minutes.
Yeah.
Seems like a lot of heavy investment towards that side of the jungle.
Yeah, this will be what they'll set up here. They'll set Tempo in the bot side here with his teleport, and then they'll send the rest of the teammates around the top side, so that if they send people to Maokai to stop him, then it means that they get the Baron for free. If they invest all the people down to Baron, Tempo either pushes in with his team disengaging, or he would teleport in with his team engaging as well.
And it's important that you've mentioned the teleport because Prelude currently doesn't have one.
Yeah.
So it makes Enclave's life a misery here. MNM know that timer is down. They know that Prelude doesn't have teleport, so they just need to continue putting the pressure on Prelude in the bot side of the map, and that way they can force Enclave to make an unfavorable decision.
Yeah, and the vision that's coming down here as well. It's smart that MNM didn't just rush Baron. They pushed in to the jungle and then set up vision. They know exactly what Enclave's going to do here, and they'll react accordingly.
Yeah, all of Enclave are here in the jungle to try and contest the Baron. It looks like Prelude wants, yeah, so Tempo coming in from the back. The ultimate goes down by the rise. It's a bait though. Now they've got this Maokai flanking them from behind. Candyfloss going to dive on in onto Nautilus, and Tempo goes there as well. They're focusing. Yakamaka locked up in the chains of corruption is able to get away in the end, but Prelude unfortunately will not have the same luck in this one, and now MNM going to just march straight back towards that Baron, start her back up again. This time they probably will look to try and secure it.
Yeah, that could have been a bit smoother for MNM as well. I feel like they had the opportunity to get more out of that, but still, it serves its purpose. You know, they're still gonna. I mean, this should be a fairly free Baron. That control ward in the pit as well. Even if Enclave ward it, they won't see anything in the pit. So, if Range tries to go for this, it's going to be completely random.
Does go
there
in.
You go.
Yep. And 3,000 health was a little bit early. Really just trying to throw poke across over from the other side, but it will be secured for MNM. They find themselves the Baron. They have 18 kills to 6. a massive gold lead as well, and it seems like it's time to start nailing those final nails in the coffin of Enclave's first game here.
Yeah, you'd have to imagine at this point it's just kind of formality. I mean, I'm really impressed, honestly, with MNM. They just done it the way that you would expect to read it in a textbook. You know, they just take the outer side, like I was saying, the outer towers, then they just went through one by one for the inner towers. As soon as that was done, they just went, all right, let's do Baron now. They set up perfectly for that. They baited it, got a pick, and then went for it afterwards. And now they're just, you know, it's just smart. I don't really find holes in their strategy, but you could also argue that is because these guys are so far ahead, right? It's like they've been given the tools to do what they're doing, and all that's impressive about what they're doing is the fact that they're actually doing it.
Tempo steals away the red buff. Range Expire had Smite available, and I guess he's just got to that stage of the game where nothing matters anymore. Hello Darkness, my old friend. Prelude going to try and get away. Range Expire takes a huge chunk of damage as well. Now MNM going to start setting up a bit of a split here. They've got 2 on the bot side, 1 in the mid. I think they'll send another one there. So a 2-2-1, 1-2-2 split going. They're just putting pressure on every lane here, because Enclave can't take the 2v2s, the 1v1s.
No. They can't. They just can't stop it. What do you do here? You can't do anything. You know, it's, yeah.
This B-Lead tries to do something, and this is what happens. Larson gets turned on, and he just destroys you. They're going to flash forward, look for Reclamation. Range Expire going to try and body block this Rise here, but he body blocks too much, and he loses his life for it. 2 turrets down. They're looking for that inhibitor in the mid lane, whilst Tempo does work to the top lane. And MNM just going for that trifecta. They're clearing out the base here. Fox drop and Enclave looking for a last hurrah. Haddo going to be pulled on in. Haddo doesn't care. There's the heal from that Redemption, and Prelude going to fall, as does Yakamaka as well, to the big tanky T that is Tempo's Maokai. And Nexus turrets next. They're going to fall. This is game 1 of this series. Going on over to MNM. They played it fairly clean here, fairly surgical, and they take the victory.
I mean, look at the minimap. Literally everything is gone. There's nothing left of Enclave. Genuinely nothing left for these guys to take, from MNM to take. Really, really solid game there. I think if we were going to take a snapshot of that game to summarize it all, was when Graves gets his red buff stolen by the enemy top laner and has to use his ultimate to escape in his own jungle. That feels pretty bad. And this is where the early game was fine, honestly. It was fine for Enclave. They played it fairly well. And those 2 plays just changed everything. You know, that's just when everything kind of flipped on its head. A little bit of boldness and aggression from MNM, which got a tad punished, as you can see here. But, I mean, it was never really able to kind of to come to anything from Enclave's side. They weren't able to really solidify the punishes or make anything of it.
Yeah, no, MNM, whilst they did, you know, give a couple of kills here and there, it wasn't consequent. It wasn't of consequence, and so Enclave's mistakes far more punishable, and it was just water chipping away at the block. That was game 1. Going on